I used a fair bit of detergent, so I put it on deep water with extra rinse. And of course the wash is deep water wash, as you can see. Very deep. So what we've got, bulky sheets just to make sure it had enough water. I would have liked to put it on normal because it washes longer, but I'm going to press the pause button. And of course we've selected heavy soil and hot water. So just to see it, show it again, this is what we're looking at here. That's what I call wash action. These are the surpluses for the servers, because now we have extra time, so I'm doing all of these things. Check this out. That's what I call wash.
And a concert of car horns from Al Eckstein's family to celebrate his 90th as he watched from the balcony of his retirement residence.
All right, so Louise, I'm here with Louise Steele from our parish and from our music ministry. Louise sings sometimes. Louise plays the guitar most times, and has been part of that ministry for it seems to me much of the time that I've been here, and I'm coming up to
6
5
years.
6 years,
almost 7 years I've been here. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay, in this parish, Louise.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, did you move to St.
Yeah.
Catharines?
Yeah. I was in Toronto, and when I moved here, it was the summertime. I had my idea of going to the different parishes to see where I liked the music ministry the best. This is the second church I came to, but when I walked in to start to see, I had this deep feeling that I'd come home. So I didn't look any further.
We hear that sometimes, and I have heard that a few times actually. And I must say that when I go into the church, and now I would go in every day, of course, as you'd expect, but now this has afforded even more time for prayer. And it is definitely steeped in prayer. Maybe partly, I mean, it's a very friendly parish.
It is.
And it's rather intimate because it's, by Canadian standards, it would be about medium size. And but it's the amount of prayer over a period of over 100 years, of course, that seems to stay. It's something that has a good feeling to it, eh?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Also, there was a welcoming ministry when I walked in. People said hello to me. That doesn't often happen in a Catholic parish.
I know, because many times our parishes are either very large or have multiple masses.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah. I dare say, this parish has something unique also, and that is that our ministers of hospitality, like, don't forget, we've kind of moved ahead. We used to sort of have ushers only, who were typically men,
mm-hmm.
whom you could rely upon to get that collection. These men, and kind of guard the place, actually. Okay, all of these things, maybe tell somebody if they needed to use the washroom where it was. But typically, from what I've seen over the years, not necessarily a whole lot of engagement. And the fact that there are the men and the women in
yes.
this ministry here, yeah, definitely, it really opens it up, you know. So, but listen, so you came from Toronto, and are you enjoying this size of a city?
Or? Oh, yes, much more, much more. I love being able to just 5 minutes away, there's fields and vines and orchards, and you couldn't do that in Toronto. I was in Don Mills, so it's just lovely being here. Yeah.
Okay, okay. In terms of your background and your work background, you're an engineer, and
That's right.
if I'm not mistaken, did you say chemical engineer?
No, no, civil engineer.
Oh,
Civil
civil.
engineer. My master's degree was in pavement, but my work as a consultant was in general construction as well as pavement and foundations. So that was my first career that lasted about 8-10 years. And then I quit, stayed home with my kids. That was another 10 years for my career. My third career was I was a part-time professor at Seneca College. Now, because this was part-time, there were two halves to my life, and I really kind of resented that one half had so much respect and the other half didn't. I always told people, well, I'm a half-time professor, a half-time housewife, to put those on an equal basis because they're both very important.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
And
the
so,
only reason.
which one didn't have so much respect? The engineering, or
Yeah, the
the
housewife.
teaching, or the housewife?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, oh no. No, teaching big time respect. I like that. I like that.
Gosh, but yeah,
I could.
the element of the home. First of all, the home care, the care of children.
Mhm.
And furthermore, one has to have um, one has to have emotional strength, actually, because often enough you might be alone in the house on a daily basis. This is
There's so many different things that happen. They're only now beginning to recognize the emotional work that women do in the home, which is, it's always there. Even when I was working full time outside the house, I had the work inside, but also the emotional work. And there was no word to describe it back then. I was very overwhelmed.
okay, and then probably you and many other women in particular, eh?
Oh
Because
yeah.
it was supposed to be, as you know, I mean, it was supposed to be that the woman was going to be able to have it all. She could have the career. Yeah, she did have it all, and then she also did it all, apparently. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that has to be overwhelming. But on
I've
the
heard
other
that.
hand,
I've
each
heard that
society can.
the happiest women are the ones who work part time. And
Okay.
that worked really well for me, really well.
Okay. All right. Wow. Well, listen, now speaking of that and home life, then, how has we've been away from the church now for coming up to, I think, 7 or 8 weeks, and away from friends, away from. So, how have you been dealing with all of that? Is it? I know that you are retired now, so you would be at home more frequently.
Mhm.
But how is it going over?
It was the first few weeks were very difficult for me. My husband has been self quarantining his whole life, so it was easy for him. But actually, about a week and a half ago, I got on top of two things. Like I really needed a schedule to pull myself together. Um, I got I signed up for French classes online, so that takes up a fair chunk of my day. And I find I'm much happier when I get up in the morning for that. I also found something called the self-isolation choir. Well, there's a man who's conducting, and we have the score for Handel, all of the Messiah. And so I can practice that. And then he has practices for the tenors, and for the other levels as well, and then everybody sings together. Very, very challenging for me, but I can just make all the mistakes I want in the safety of my own home. The guy's really good too. He's leading everything. He's giving information about what the music itself contains, and the history that's involved as well. So yeah, I've really filled my days.
And are you accessing this through YouTube, or is this a
Yeah.
Zoom type of
Yeah,
YouTube?
through YouTube for the self-isolation choir. In fact, anybody can go on YouTube and get it. And then the other, my course is on something called Teams, Microsoft Teams, whatever the school is using.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's so this is helping you, for one thing, have a reason to start moving in the morning. Get you going a little bit, eh?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, yeah, I understand. I know that here, Bishop Burgee had told us as soon as this was about to start, he said he right away sent a message to the priests, and he said, a routine must be maintained, and so in other words, you should be getting up at a similar, approximately the same time, and this kind of a thing, and how true that is, because if you, as I mentioned to our last chat host or chat candidate, if you don't, like when we're living here on earth, we're in time. So I used to wonder, I thought, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be retired, for example, because I guess the time wouldn't really matter. But no, the time does matter, because things change during the day. The lighting
Hmm.
outside, you can't just decide, oh, I think I'm going to be sleeping until noon or something like that, and then
Yeah,
feel good
some
about
people
it.
do. Yeah.
Some people do, yeah, and if they do, and if they are feeling fine, yeah, okay, but no, it won't work for many others, right? Because then you
Yes.
may not want to get up at all if you were to just lay there. You've got to.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, if there aren't any notable obligations, that takes a little adjusting. There's no question. So we almost have to, like what you're doing. Yep, you're looking forward to that isolation choir. Also, I presume that you're going out for refreshing walks, for example?
Yes, yeah, going
Okay,
out for walks. Also have my garden that I'm currently very active in. So I've got a few projects that I've been wanting to do for years and haven't had the time, and so they're getting done, which is nice.
good. Oh, that is nice. Yeah. Oh, good for you. Yeah, it's just this simple. It's got to keep it going, eh? And as I say, you know what I like? Well, and of course I'll have to adjust once again. Well, first of all, what I don't like is the hair. Are you having any problem, or because I don't want it?
No, no, I don't need a lot of haircuts.
Oh, it can't. If it gets too much longer, I feel like I'm getting too warm. When I was younger, when I was a kid, a lot of times I had to have longer hair because nobody seemed that available to go to the barber or to get
Oh,
it cut. And I just loved having short hair. And so then when I could do it, go on my own, then needless to say, I always have. And it's usually about every 3 or 4 weeks. Well, now, of course, it has been about 10 effectively. I got a haircut, I think, shortly before this started. And here it is.
I think you look great the way you are.
Aren't you so kind, Louise? Thank you. I was fishing for a compliment. Thanks so much. But if you're not used to more lengthy hair, and it's not that bad yet. But the you got to be careful when you're cooking, for example, because if you have short hair, usually I don't notice really any hair going into the item, the food or
Oh,
anything like that. But now I'll look down at the floor and I'll go, oh my gosh, because
yeah.
what if it's so? And now tell me that, okay, so you've had an interest in music for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. And so so do you play an instrument besides the guitar?
No, no, pretty well just the guitar. Yeah, I'm working on my vocals very recently, but I
Okay.
can pick out a tune on the piano, and I taught my kids to play recorder. But in high school, I played tuba in the band.
No kidding. Tuba in
They,
the band.
yeah,
So
they,
you had to memorize the music, or did you have the music
oh
stuck
no,
on
no, you
you?
have music in front of you. It
Oh,
wasn't a marching band.
oh, that was the thing.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because
no,
I was trying when I was at E.L. Crosley years ago. I was there for 2 years of high school, and then we went to Dennis Morris. But here I was there, and I went into the marching band. But my big concern was, well, I was playing trumpet. And I said, well, how am I supposed to? Now, some people did, I suppose, have a cheat sheet or something on their trumpet, but many others had memorized it, and
oh,
I just couldn't do it. So then I moved on to Dennis Morris, and they didn't have either they didn't have music or they didn't have a band, or because don't forget at the time the Catholic schools often enough had less resources because they didn't have the full funding yet at the time. Eh?
yes.
So, but okay, and so guitar, you do a lovely job there very much. Do you call that, what is that, regular or classical guitar? What is that?
I play, it's not classical. I play, it's a folk style, so it's all strumming. I do some finger picking. Classical is more complex. I mean, I'll put a chord on and finger pick through it. But with classical, the music just goes all over. I mean, you could have a number of different notes at once carrying different parts of it.
Okay. And are you're eager, I would guess, to go back to your ministry and to come back?
Yes, I am. I miss it a great deal. Going to Mass and playing at Mass is one of my great joys of life. Even the practices every week are one of the highlights of my week. Looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
And that choir has grown, of course. The choir.
Rick has done a fabulous job encouraging people to join, and we've got such great people.
Oh yeah.
You've done an awesome job.
I'm very pleased. I'm very grateful to Rick. Yeah, he's done an awesome job, and it will be so nice to get back together. Obviously, I'm one of the few who can go into the church.
Yes.
So I'm conscious of that great privilege, but it will be nice to have all of the faithful back. In fact, because this has never happened before, I don't even know what my or their reaction will be. It'll just be, and furthermore, it'd be hard to know whether if when these restrictions get lifted, what happens if it's the case that the province requires no more than, say, X number of people in a building. And so then I guess the thing to do, the bishop will guide us, but I guess the thing to do might be to increase the number of masses so that you'd have less people at each one. But then look, there's the music ministry to think about, there's the lecture, and there's me. And there are, people don't know this, but there are restrictions in the code of law, canon law. There are restrictions on how many times the priest can celebrate Mass.
Oh, wow.
Per day.
I did not know that.
No, I mean, they'll make some allowance for quote unquote pastoral necessity, but, I couldn't be having 6 Masses on the weekend, for instance.
Wow.
I mean, unless the pastoral necessity would extend to that degree. But our chief liturgist, who is the chief shepherd, who's Bishop Burgee, I would believe he could lift any restriction as needed. So, the church, we've had 2,000 years to be thinking about all these things. Needless to say, most questions have been answered, right? And they did have to answer the question as well about multiple stipends per day, because I think sometime in the Middle Ages, you had some priests who were going around having 20 Masses and taking a stipend, an honorarium for each one.
Yeah, well, the Middle Ages were just a little different story.
It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
So good. Do you think you're going to? Well, what do you think? What is your projection on this? Do you think that now that the curve has been effectively flattened in different parts of the country,
things are going to go back slowly,
right?
And I'm going to be very cautious because I'm in the age range that causes problems, and I'm retired. I don't have to be out. I'm going to be very picky about where I go. One thing I did find very distressful in, I believe it was South Korea, they started permitting Masses, no singing, because that put water droplets in the air.
Of course, because then the particles, the virus, can be suspended in the air for several seconds anyway. Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not second guessing anything. I hope my garden center opens up so I can get some stuff. The stuff that they have online is not what I generally pick up. I'm just taking it day by day, really.
Okay, yeah, no, and same here. We got to be ready for anything. But when you said the Mass without any music or any as little mouth movement as possible, I was thinking about traditionally Masses at the high schools. There's something about 13 years old to 18 or whatever. Mum is the word. You're looking at them and you're trying. You're saying, okay, would you say something, please? No, nothing. So that would be fine there. But so listen, thank you so much for putting your name forward.
Oh,
And
this is awesome. I've been looking forward to this all week. This is wonderful. Thanks so much.
I'm so pleased. Well, listen, God bless you. And I know you've sent some emails, and thank you. And you've been very affirming. I think you watched some of the masses on the YouTube and so on.
Yes, yes, I have been following, and I don't think your sermons are too long.
Aren't you so? You might make enemies that way, Louise. Be careful.
It's online. Like you say, you can interrupt it.
All
You can
they
go
do
for
is,
something else.
yeah,
I
you
have
can
my
go for
key.
some. That's right. And in fact, but you know what? Just one more thing. I was watching because I do watch once per week. Then when it's convenient, it's all watch, and then I go, oh my gosh, the minutes keep passing by, and then I say, when did it start? It started at 9:45, like 9 minutes and 45 seconds, and now we're at 21 minutes. I said, oh, wait a minute, that's not too long. Now we're at 32 minutes, and I go, uh-oh, that's a long time. Okay, so not that the homily was 32. I think the homily was 21 minutes. But I'm praying it won't happen. It shouldn't happen again. I don't know what happened. So, okay, listen, and give my warmest regards to Doug as
Will
well.
do.
Okay.
Will do.
Thanks, Louise.
Thanks so much.
God bless. Eh?
Wonderful. Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye.